You're listening to The Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. I am trying to keep myself busy, and try not to pay attention to the BS going on, but it's hard. It's hard, excuse me. My last podcast, I talked about Creed. I was listening to it, and I almost sound like I'm like a fanboy of them. I'm not, it's far from, it's just, it's not as bad as I always thought, so it's not like they're my favorite band now. But anyway, I don't know if I clarified that or not. But anyway, so I was trying to stay away from the news, but this is kind of going crazy. But Jimmy Kimmel getting fired. Completely awesome. I love it. Because he's just a douche, man. I remember 20 years ago he was kind of funny. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't watch any of that crap, but I do like watching some of the bands that he would have on his show and stuff, But I only watch those like on YouTube or something. But yeah, so Jimmy Kimmel was fired for saying stupid. I mean, he's always said stupid stuff. Trying to watch the language there. But he was fired for saying that the shooter was a MAGA, this and that, and just complete lies when the information was out, so he can't play stupid. Oh, well, we kind of... No, the information was out. Now, could that information be false and the FBI is corrupt and all that stuff? Okay, maybe. I don't know. It's possible. I don't think so. But I guess real quick, I'll touch on that. I'm not here to talk about Charlie Kirk's assassination, everything. I'm here to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. But, some of the other things that's kind of strange is, the text messages and stuff that they reported. It is kind of weird, but what I think they did is they basically went through a bunch of them and picked out the ones that look like they kind of support, the situation that happened, right? So it doesn't make sense. He's like, oh, my dad, like it's not in order. Like, I think the way they read it wasn't in order, or kind of how, there was probably separation, or maybe it was like a week before. I don't know. Who knows? But some of it's kind of weird. Some people are like, ooh, the way he talks. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're reaching kind of. He was 20-something. His dad was a cop. He would pick up on that lingo. Now, my middle son, who's 14, he does the shorthand, retarded kind of whatever generation they are, and it drives me nuts. So if it was like a 14-year-old that took out Charlie Kirk, then okay, yeah, I could understand. But as far as the lingo and everything, no, people are reaching. I think. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I don't see it. Anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel, one of the biggest TDSers there are. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch him. I watch people who will report on various things or whatever. And so I know some of the stuff that he's said and done and whatever. And he just seems like a complete sellout douche. His best friend was a chef for, Epstein. So what does that tell you? I don't know. So don't really, I'm not going to celebrate. Well, maybe a little. Yay. All right. Cause it's just, they need to get some shows with people on there that are just unbiased, this one side or the other is just, I don't want people who are just straight up right side either. It's like SNL, man, used to make jokes on everybody. And then like, there was just 4 years of gold with Biden, but no, they couldn't do it because, the tribes, oh, we can't go against our tribe, so it's just, but, so, Kimmel like I said, he was fired because he said, that the shooter was MAGA and this and that. Now, I don't think that's exactly why he was fired. I think that was an excuse, a reason to fire him. Because ratings, I mean, look at Stephen Colbert ratings, they were just losing money. Same thing with Kimmel. Like nobody cares about watching late night shows anymore, especially when it's so biased and it's like you're only catering to a certain amount of people. You're not catering to the whole American people anymore. So, I mean, maybe late night will never come back. I don't know. I think they can, but they got to get a little more centered, I don't care. Like I said, it's like I won't watch even, I don't watch Gutfeld. I'll see some clips occasionally, but I don't. But yeah, I think it was just an excuse, and I think he was gonna get canned anyway, and they used this as an opportunity, probably to save money or whatever, but probably also to kind of make it look like, oh, look at what Trump did because of Trump, because everybody's getting on that, oh, Trump getting rid of free speech, and it's like, oh my gosh, and so I've seen some people post some stuff, and yeah, 90% of it is just people trying to get people to, make a comment on a post that, oh, look at, I got all this interaction. That's, gosh, man, I keep hitting the microphone. That's what most of it is. You know what I mean? Like, they probably don't even believe it. It's just some dude that's just posting this stuff because he knows it'll get a reaction. There's a lot of it because it's just the most retarded takes. But I have seen people who are not trying to get interactions or whatever that are posting it because they see it and then they post on different stuff, and they're like, Trump's after our free speech amendment right. And it's like, no. There's a huge difference between going to jail, being prosecuted, being arrested for saying something, and just getting fired from your employer. That's not the same thing at all. So all these people who are crying, free speech is under attack. No, free speech is when the government arrests you for saying stuff or texting stuff, like they are in Europe and other countries. You go to, Russia, China, you say some stuff against the government, you get arrested and you get corrected, however they do it there. So yes, you can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean your employer is going to be like, that's why all these people are getting fired. That's not free speech. That's not infringing on their free speech. These people are so clueless. And it just shows you how stupid the left really is, man. Another thing, like how many things, they're just so very clueless when it comes to real world things, I don't know. But so like here, so if you could look at the Constitution, the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, which is a problem, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Complain about the government. So that's what it says, like in the Constitution. It's so you can't be arrested. You can't be thrown in jail. You can't have all this stuff done by the state or the government, right? And then people might be like, well, yeah, but they're doing it because Trump is putting the pressure on them. It's like, no. ABC. First of all, ABC is like all those, NBC, ABC, CBS, all of them, they have like a broadcasting license that is paid for by us tax dollars, so the taxes you pay for that, because you get that on TV. You can just get an antenna. That's why you can put up an antenna, which is now digital. They don't do analog anymore, but You can go buy an antenna, stick it up in the air, and you can get free TV. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of, but it's free. I mean, it's not, but it is, you know. So those, so it's like our taxpayers, our tax dollars are paying for this show that they used to create it, which cost millions of dollars. They get nothing from it, and they just keep losing viewers and viewers, and they're losing sponsors and sponsors because no one's watching it, I guarantee you, Disney, who owns ABC, is it ABC? Let me see. I did look on something here. Yeah, they were wanting to find a way to get rid of them, to get rid of the show, because it's costing them money, and this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, that's why it was completely cut though too. So they didn't. I think they kind of, the way they did it though is to make it seem like, oh, look at, like it's just causing more whatever. It's causing more drama and this and that, because you have the other guy, Stephen Colbert, who's still got to finish or do this last season or something. But when the opportunity arrives, they're gonna take it. So Kimmel's been hot trash for a long time now. So it's, and nobody's freedom of speech is being infringed. It's just retarded, some of the takes that people have, And again, a lot of it's manufactured, but the thing is, people do kind of see it and think the same thing and like, oh my gosh. So my liberal friend, of course, had something to say about it, and I'm just like, I'm not even gonna. I was just like, dude, I'm grateful for our friendship, but that's, just another bad take. And then somebody else got on there and like explained it to him. But the thing is, he never says anything else. It's like he says this thing, and then there's never ever, oh, okay, you know what? I didn't think about that, or whatever, this and that. It's just, he just wants to say his crap. I don't know. And that's kind of the mentality too, of the left. They don't, when you explain to them, they just don't, they can't straight up proof here, this is why. Nope, they don't believe it, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, so he was fired. I was trying to look up and see kind of what a turning point in media. See, they're trying to make it look like, see, now you got people coming, oh my gosh, now everybody's gonna pretty soon it's gonna be government ran, media, TV. I mean, it kind of is in a way, I guess, but like they're trying to make it, but it's like they're trying to make it into like it's becoming a communist kind of country, which is what they want, which is insane. All the things they complain about is what they want. Oh my God, we're gonna be this. It's like, well, that's what you want. You're socialist, but I'm trying to keep track of where my time is. So, but there's been, you've had news media talking heads being let go and fired left and right since Trump's been, in office, because the machine, the propaganda machine that was put forth, everybody's just attacking him. It didn't work. So, and now it's like, you would think, I mean, I don't know, from what I can tell, it seems like the Tonight Show with what's his face, the other Jimmy, I think maybe I don't think he drank the Kool-Aid. He just went along with it. But it seems like instead of just like, okay, let's stop going after Trump, let's just do a show and, whatever, this and that. Let's entertain the country. They kept at it, because I think, Jimmy Kimmel was freaking, he had TDS, like legitimately. He's one of the ones that just, he could not. And same with my friend that I was talking about earlier, the liberal friend. Every little thing, like, so I've really cut down on politics because like I said, I'm just kind of done with getting into that, or just really following it, or just, making it a priority. It's no longer a priority. I mean, obviously I can't just, cold turkey it, but, I'm trying to just focus on other things, just whatever. But like my friend, every time I post anything that's, if it can be connected politically or something. So like I didn't post anything. I mean, I didn't post anything for a while. I was like, I'm just done with this crap. And then I've kind of posted some things here and there. And then I did a thing when, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then of course he's got to make a comment, and he's just, oh, Trump was going to win about Epstein. And I'm like, dude, only you bring up Epstein or bring up Trump. It's like, dude, I was like, your TDS is so strong. I said nothing about Trump. And then here you are, bringing it up in your comments. It's like, dude, let it go. We let go, a little. I don't know. Well, yeah, you just got to let go of the politics. Because like I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The First Amendment has lots of great things in it, but freedom of religion really, really screwed over America. You can't have freedom of religion. You just can't. Because look at what's going on. You have Satan, people doing Satan prayers and all this kind of crap, and then it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I mean, tribalism is a thing for a reason, but now it's just become like a social construct. No. But yeah, America should have been, I mean, it was founded on Christian, but it wasn't. It was, formed, the Masonic Freemasons. They're the ones that created America, and they made sure that it was not a Christian, that's why they put in freedom of religion. Everybody was Christian then. There was no need. But then they'd be like, well, people foresaw. Okay, maybe. But how do they? So it's like you kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy though when you think about it. So the Second Amendment, then you have the First. But how could they? Everybody was Christian back then. I mean, except for Native Americans and stuff. But, it's just, it should be a Christian nation. There should be, God in schools and public schools and in the whatever, this and that. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be a Christian and you have to believe in Jesus in order to live there. But you can't just go and start, being Islam, whatever, all the other stuff, and pushing all that crap on everything else. It's like either be a Christian or be an atheist. That's it. And then the country would be so much better off right now. But, shoulda, woulda, coulda, I guess. But yeah, so I mean, like I've said before, the Constitution is a great document, but it's got its flaws. But yeah, so getting fired from your job because you said stuff is not anything to do with your free speech. Now, getting arrested because you said some tweets, that's goes against your first, which I don't think they've really done here, but it's happening in Europe. They're trying to do it here. They're trying. But then the left won't say nothing about that when it does. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I don't know. Like, what? I don't know. People just need to unplug but that's hard, like when something like, so I was kind of really distancing myself. I cut myself off, and then it was like the Epstein stuff was going on, and then so I did post some things because it's like, that's when, well, I guess that was kind of the turning point for me when it was like, they're all like, oh, here we go, we got it. And then it was nothing. It's like, what the crap? Come on. So then I was just like, you know what? It's because they're all They're all in on it. So it's never going to come out. So that's why why even bother? Why even bother with politics? And then you could say almost maybe the same thing with like, what if, because I talked a little bit, so I guess I am going to talk a little bit just to finish it up. I said my piece with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel? Yeah. But with Charlie Kirk, right? Like, what if, I was talking about like, man, who benefited from it? And it's like, when you kind of look at everything, it's like the right benefit from it. And when you see just how it's playing out, and then you kind of see, some of the things that don't add up, the weapon thing, still they haven't been clear about that. I think I've heard, I don't know, I haven't watched it again. I watched it once, the video of him jumping off the roof, but then some people are saying you can see it. So, I don't know, but then the screwdriver he left up there, but then I don't know, it's like it does kind of seem like it was kind of similar to JFK and similar to 9/11 in the fact that, like, I think the individual probably had some help and maybe some things were set. If this was, I'm not saying I believe this again, but, what if, just like 9/11, I think, I said it before, the government knew about it and let it happen to an extent, and maybe even helped us a couple things. Oh, hey, since we do this, yeah, this, because, how did Building 7 just go down? Like, it's just, what the crap. So with this, the same kind of thing, so the FBI gets the text messages, or they read the messages, but there's no timestamps, there's no whatever. There was all kinds of people in the Discord. So the FBI was on to probably, a possible assassination attempt. And when they brought it to certain people, they were probably like, hey, hold on a second. We could really move ahead if this was to go down. And so maybe that's, so there are people that are involved on both sides, and the FBI is trying to make sure that that information doesn't get out, or who knows, you know what I mean? It is possible. I'm not saying, just because Republicans are kind of in power now. Dude, all politicians are trash. They're all corrupt. So, I don't think Trump is like other politicians are, career politicians and people that grew up in that world. Maybe he is. Maybe someday we'll find out he is. I don't think so. I think he wants to be looked at as the greatest president of all time. I mean, you see him, it's like, oh, I do. No, nobody does this better than me. I do. You know what I mean? It's funny to see his ego. But, again, that's why I voted for him, because he wasn't a politician. Now, I'm not saying like, somebody else comes along, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone wants to run or something, I'm going to vote for him because he's not a politician. I don't know if I'm going to even get into politics anymore. But my point is, Charlie Kirk, it could have been, it's obvious it was a conspiracy between left-wing kind of gay agenda group people. But maybe there was some government influence in it, that kind of helped it along, like 9/11. Hey, listen, we won't stop it, but because we think that this will actually have a huge benefit for us. Because it doesn't matter. The Freemasons are the ones that run the world almost, and they're the ones that run the country. So they're the puppet masters. I always say the puppet masters. It's basically them. And so, they don't care. Their people are in, either side. That's why, it doesn't matter who's in office so much. But when people are not, doing what they're told by the Freemasons, that's when, like JFK, Abraham Lincoln, because they were back then, when they're not going with the program, that's when things happen, such as, but they couldn't make it work with Trump. Because they knew, like, if he just, they're like, okay, that's not going to work, so we're going to move to the right. Because they have, you've seen those pictures of the puppet master, the Freemasons, You got the Republican over here and the Democrat. They're all controlled by the same thing, and it's true. You know, it sucks. But that's why the only thing you can do is be Catholic, pray the rosary, and not sin. That's all you can do. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. All right, God bless. Bye.